Okay, so continuing with the Clinton presidency from 1992 to 2000, we've been looking at the problems he faced. We talked about the last video, World Trade Center bombing, the Oklahoma City bombing, and now we're moving on to the Bosnian War, which lasts from 1992 to 1995. I'm just going to go over it again so that you don't have to watch. Well, I'll just go real quick. Yugoslavia, Bosnia, and Kosovo. Following the end of the Cold War, there was an increase in tensions between several nations of the Balkan Peninsula. When the Soviets, kind of, as they swept west from the east at the end of World War II, and then they became a communist Soviet Union, they're going to just draw up lines based on geography and not ethnicities. And so it puts a lot of people who are different religions and different kinds of people in the same country. And so Christian Serbs attempted to massacre Muslims living in Bosnia and Kosovo in a policy called ethnic cleansing. Like I said, it's a genocide. And it's also, they would also rape the women and try to get them pregnant to breed out the Muslim in them, okay? Fearing genocide, like the Holocaust, might be repeated, President Clinton sent U.S. troops and used NATO airstrikes to stop Serbians from attacking Kosovo. So like I said in the last video, I'll say it again. He's not going to send troops on the ground like you would think, with rifles in their hands and going and shooting at the enemy. He's going to send troops like Air Force personnel to load the bombs on the planes and refuel the planes and taxi the planes into the hangars and things like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this war. I want to say I think I have two videos for this. And so the first one is we're going to the reporting of the genocide. So let's look at this. This is from CBS News.
In town of Srebrenica. In the summer of 1995, CBS News correspondent Barry Peterson, visiting refugee camps, was among the first to hear the stories about the thousands of men who disappeared. Later, 60 Minutes correspondent Bob Simon was shown evidence of the genocide.
In a field of tears, their memories of terror and death come pouring out. My family, she says. Why didn't they kill me, she is asking. Why didn't they kill me? The UN, he says, they did absolutely nothing to protect us.
It soon became clear that the Serbs had slaughtered thousands of Bosnian men and buried them in mass graves. 4 years later, UN peacekeepers, mostly from the Netherlands, admitted to 60 Minutes correspondent Bob Simon that Mladic had fooled them.
Warrant Officer Wim Dijkema belonged to that Dutch battalion, which was sent to Srebrenica to stop an attack on the town.
We came there with a will to do as much as we could do, but we failed.
Then Mladic assures the refugees they will be taken to safety. And in fact, the women and children were bussed across the front line and dumped in safe territory. The men, thousands of them, were bussed to neighboring Serb villages, lined up, and shot. Hidden from the Serbs, Wim Dijkema was documenting the first stages of genocide.
I realized that I have been very, very naive. When Mladic said, I guarantee their safety, that I believed him. For me, it's unbelievable now, at this moment.
All these years later, the images and the stories still haunting.
Okay, so we see the genocide part, and let's go to see what the United States is going to, how it's going to stop that problem. So this is a pretty cool video. You'll get to see some explosions.
2 miles inside Kosovo. All day it has been targeted by NATO planes. The dust rises, and when it settles, the jets attack again. In 2 hours, I counted around 20 strikes on the village, the planes rising and diving regularly, throwing off flares and bombs. But not once did I hear Serbian anti-aircraft gunners fire back. Serb troops had munitions and fuel here. Watch the third house on the right, which appears to be deliberately targeted. This is the heaviest fighting yet on this border. The Serbs are by no means surrounded, but they're now being attacked from two sides. From the front by the Kosovo rebels, and from behind in a now intense series of air raids by NATO warplanes. Kosovo rebels have been trying to take the same village. The Serbs hitting them with heavy mortar fire. The rebels bringing their casualties in by the hour. And through this gauntlet came more refugees, most happy to see NATO pounding those who've expelled them. The bombs fell from 15,000 feet to right and left. Bomb by bomb, NATO is clearing a path for the rebels to advance. Then, in late afternoon, NATO struck Serbia's border post with Albania. Dozens of refugees were crossing at this moment. Serbian sniper and mortar positions the apparent target, ending a day of massive and sustained attack. Bill Neely, ITN, on the Kosovo-Albanian border.
Okay, so that is pretty much the Bosnian War. And so they're going, Slobodan Milosevic, who is the Serbian leader, is going to surrender and all is good. Then, at the end of the Clinton presidency, on October 12, 2000, the USS Cole is bombed off the coast of Yemen. Yemen is a Middle Eastern country connected to Oman and Saudi Arabia. It killed 17 Navy sailors and wounded 40. The destroyer represented the capital of the West, bin Laden said, and the small boat represented Muhammad, which is a quote from a book written by Wright. America did not retaliate, and bin Laden felt he needed to do something bigger. And so it's the year 2000. Bin Laden's leading Al-Qaeda, and he thinks he has to do something bigger. So we don't know we know what it's going to be, but America didn't at that time. Now, President Bill Clinton is going to be impeached. Okay, in 1999, President Clinton faced a major scandal, and for just the second time in history, a president faced impeachment proceedings. Clinton had a sexual affair with a White House intern and then lied about it. Her name was Monica Lewinsky. Impeachment means the removal from office under the following rules. House of Representatives votes to impeach, or the Senate holds a trial requiring 2/3 of vote to convict, which is what they're going to do. So they're going to hold a trial, not 2/3 of the Senate votes, and so he remains in office until the end. The Senate failed to convict, but once again the American public felt it could not trust their leaders. What's new? Thank you. Actually, I think I have... Okay, I forgot to put this. I have a video of Bill Clinton admitting to having inappropriate relationship with Monica Lewinsky, but this is classic politics.
This afternoon in this room, from this chair, I testified before the Office of Independent Counsel and the grand jury. I answered their questions truthfully, including questions about my private life, questions no American citizen would ever want to answer. Still, I must take complete responsibility for all my actions, both public and private. And that is why I am speaking to you tonight. As you know, in a deposition in January, I was asked questions about my relationship with Monica Lewinsky. While my answers were legally accurate, I did not volunteer information. Indeed, I did have a relationship with Ms. Lewinsky that was not appropriate. In fact, it was wrong. It constituted a critical lapse in judgment and a personal failure on my part, for which I am solely and completely responsible. But I told the grand jury today, and I say to you now, that at no time did I ask anyone to lie, to hide or destroy evidence, or to take any other unlawful action. I know that my public comments and my silence about this matter gave a false impression. I misled people, including even my wife. I deeply regret that. I can only tell you I was motivated by many factors. First, by a desire to protect myself from the embarrassment of my own conduct. I was also very concerned about protecting my family. The fact that these questions were being asked in a politically inspired lawsuit, which has since been dismissed, was a consideration too. In addition.
Okay, and so he's going to be impeached, but he's not going to get convicted, and so he will finish out his term. Okay, and so that's the end of the Clinton presidency. Thank you so much again for your attention. If you have any questions about this lesson or anything else course related, please contact me through the class Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube channels. If you do not have that ability, hit me up via email at chrisdeleon@sbcisd.net. Thanks and have a great day.